This clip from Anderson Cooper with Anthropic CEO on the AI future about the middle class and unemployment spiking to 10 to 20%. Well, who's going to replace that spending? Clips like these have the market spooked, which is already showing signs of collapse. Like this chart out of Japan this morning. Japan's 10-year government bond is surging to the 2% level, the highest level that we've seen since 2008. Its 20-year, the highest level since we've seen since 1999. The last time the Japanese yields hit this 2% mark, well, there was a 60% correction in the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ over the next few months. This also means that the market doesn't trust the plan and that there's going to be more weakness on the US dollar. And you know what the smartest dude in the world has to say about this?
As world's highest record holder, I expect Bitcoin is going to $220,000 in the next 45 days.
Bitcoiners remain bricked and excited for opportunities in the future, despite what the rest of the market's showing, like Peter Thiel, who's dumping all of the shares at the top. Bitcoiners are still pedal to the metal because you know what? They know that they own the scarcest asset in the world. With 95% of Bitcoin being mined, they know that there's only a little bit left. Today, we're going to go through the crazy signals flashing in the market right now and the potential correction that's coming and why it doesn't really matter if you're a Bitcoiner with a long-term perspective. This is Dante Cook with Bitcoin Simply. Let's go. All right, the Japanese bond market woke up this morning and chose violence, with bond yields rising to the infamous 2% mark on conversations about a $110 billion stimulus package. When this happens, this typically indicates a bear market in the US. The last time this happened, the stock market went down 60%. What tends to happen is people need to sell US investments in the US dollar to repay Japanese bonds. What do we expect? Do we expect everything to be all up and no down? Volatility should be baked into your portfolio thesis. We've been on a smooth ride. In fact, the S&P 500 is on its fifth longest streak above its 50-day moving average at 198 days. It appears we're in line for a bumpy ride. Like The Walking Dead, the zombies in the economy are starting to come out. We have the highest number of companies unable to repay their corporate debts right now that we've seen in 4 years since COVID. Like Charlie Munger said, you never know who's naked until the tide goes out. And right now, we got some nude corporate companies and some skinny dipping middle class folks that we're starting to see just off the shoreline on the beach. The US now has a record $18.6 trillion in household debt. Auto loan delinquencies reached their highest level at 3%. That's subprime. Well, those auto loans reached 6.1%. Student loan delinquencies, all-time highs, 14.3%. Credit card delinquencies, highest in 14 years, 7.1%. The economy is looking low-key terrible right now. And analysts had this to say about the economy in the Southeast, and I quote, "The numbers are worse than any recession I've covered since 1983. If deals are cratering like this in the South, North America's most desired economic development region, it's far worse in the Midwest, West, and Northeast. This is the worst 6-month period in the South's modern economic development history in terms of job and investment generating deal announcement publicly by a corporation. It's looking rough on the growth side, and on the cost side, things are looking pretty rough. Like Omaha Steak CEO said, we finna have 60% higher prices in beef. Even the cow supply is tight right now. The only thing propping everything and everybody up right now is Nvidia, which controls about 8% of the entire market right now. It's all propped up on debt and future promises. Or like Ricky Bobby's kids told Chip,
I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew.
It's all propped up on Mountain Dew, baby. And the big time investors want out of Nvidia. First, it was Masayoshi Son of SoftBank. Then, it was Michael Burry of The Big Short, dumping all of his Nvidia shares. Peter Thiel, the insider of insiders, a former member of the Fed board, who's resigning because of her insider trading. But back to Peter Thiel. Even Peter Thiel is dumping all of his Nvidia shares. He got rid of $100 million worth of Nvidia shares last quarter. Something's up. And we have Bitcoiners, like MicroStrategy, reacting to all of this calamity by buying the freaking dip. In MicroStrategy's case, or strategy, they bought the dip to the tune of $835 million, almost $1 billion, while you were scared and running for the exits. Bitcoiners know how to hold on for dear life. Like, this kicker right here is clearly a Bitcoiner.
Talk about holding on for dear life. You're gonna need 2 manicures after that.
I'm gonna need 2 manicures for how hard I'm holding my stack right now. Sometimes you get mispricings in the market, where things are just backwards. Like LeBron James being in the G League and Bronny being a starter on an NBA team, sometimes you have to buy the opportunities where things are mispriced.
How about Bronny James starting in the NBA and LeBron's assigned to the G League? That's fun.
Right now, the data is showing that we're hitting these levels of mispricing. We're oversold, and this is always a good opportunity for risk-adjusted returns doing fairly well right now. Be greedy when others are fearful, and fearful when others are greedy, like the OG Rockefeller said. Buy when there's blood on the streets. And you know why I also have confidence right now? Jim Cramer says that we're going lower. And there's no better predictor of future market performance than the opposite of what Jim Cramer says.
Do you think it's cooled off enough?
No, I think it can go down a little more. 90 is the next.
$96,808?
I think 90,000 is the next level.
The grocery store is the only efficient market in the world. When things go on sale, people buy a ton. And when things are expensive, they don't buy very much. It's the exact opposite in the stock market in Bitcoin. We're going to go through some signals right now to show why there's more mispricing opportunities right now and why this is the perfect time for you to be bullish. But let's thank our sponsors first. Ledn has been the leader in Bitcoin-backed loans since 2018. They've issued over $9 billion worth of loans to people all across the globe. When you don't want to sell your Bitcoin, well, don't sell it. Borrow against it. Get a fiat loan up to 50% loan to value when you post your Bitcoin as collateral. It's not rehypothecated, it's not lent out, and you have an address where you can see where your Bitcoin is always. The process is fast and simple. You can get a Bitcoin loan in less than 6 hours. The application takes just 2 minutes. Go to learn.ledn.ao/simply to get started with 0.25% off your first loan. There's no credit checks, and they start at 12.4%. Work with Ledn to never sell your Bitcoin. You know how to take proper custody of your Bitcoin? Well, if you don't, get a coach. Work with the team at the Bitcoin Way. They'll help you to protect your generational wealth the right way. How to remove your Bitcoin from exchanges. How to take proper custody of your Bitcoin. How to do this privately, safely, securely, and confidently. Schedule a free 30-minute consultation with the coach to walk you through how to protect your Bitcoin the right way. My friend Sam Callahan unleashed the clip with a fire tweet thread about how there's mispricings in the market and how Bitcoin, yes, how it is decoupled from the M2 money supply, but that isn't a reason for concern. He shows that long-term hodlers are taking profits right now. He goes on to say that Bitcoin's price does discorrelate with the M2 money supply when there is a mispricing or something that happens in the industry that's larger than normal market activities, like tariffs, like the disparity between Democrats and Republicans right now, like the longest government shutdown in history, like unusually high rates right now, given the unemployment rates we have in the economy. But this creates opportunities for us as Bitcoiners. Bitcoin is a force that you can't stop. And the ways that people try to stop this force is they try to take it on head on. But Bitcoin has this way of getting around things in a sly, roundabout manner. The US government and the financial market are trying to cripple Bitcoin by trying to stop it like the tush push.
Spinning away, and there he goes! Andrews! All the way! Touchdown!
But Bitcoin just goes around it in another way.
Read this every day.
The U.S. budget deficit is going to be over $200 billion for fiscal 83, and there was an interesting. I don't know if you saw the little clipping on this, but President Reagan had a commission study the deficit problem, government debt problem, the Grace Commission it was called, and they came up with some pretty shocking predictions that the deficit could grow to $500 billion, and even toward the end of the century over $1 trillion. What impact would this have on the U.S. dollar in foreign exchange markets and vis-a-vis other real, not other, but real goods and services? Down dramatically. Yeah. Well, all the more need for your sound monetary reform.
I don't believe that we should ever have a good money again before we take the thing out of the hands of government. Because we can't take them violently out of the hands of government. All we can do is, by some sly roundabout way, introduce something they can't stop.
When you think about nothing stops this train, you have to understand that this president and this administration is completely serious when they say they're going to have an economic boom. So if you don't think that they're going to cut interest rates, if you think that they're going to have their bag cut that they've worked so hard to manipulate over the last 30 years, you're insane. We literally have the most narcissistic president in the history of the world. Like, this guy comes out with Chuck Norris quotes like, "I don't even believe they're actually true when I hear them." Listen to this clip about his MRI.
That's why you needed to get an MRI. I understand that the results were good, but what was it for?
Because it's part of my physical. Getting an MRI is very standard. Well, you think I shouldn't have it? Other people get it.
Typically an MRI
I had an
is some
MRI.
specific part of your body.
Here's what the story is. I had an MRI. The doctor said it was the best result he has ever seen as a doctor. That's it.
It's like I looked at the water and the water was so scared that it dried up. It dried completely up. If I'm betting on anyone or anything, it's this dude. And when he says that they want an economic boom, he's going to do anything and everything to make that happen. I love ending my episodes with motivational, encouraging clips about the future. And with that, I always like to give flowers and praise when it's due. The most encouraging dude in Bitcoin that helps me to think long-term sometimes when I need just a 2-minute clip of fire is Jack Mallers. And I think that's exactly what we need on a day like this.
Listen, thinking you're late to Bitcoin is a failure of ego. I'll repeat that again. Thinking you are late to Bitcoin is a failure of ego. Bitcoin is an ego test. Late to Bitcoin, according to who? Oh, you're comparing yourself to your childhood friend. Oh, you're comparing yourself to people on the internet. Oh, you're comparing yourself to your coworker. That's why you think you're late to Bitcoin. What is that? That's a failure of your ego. That's an insecure, small person. All of those, that has nothing to do with Bitcoin. You think you're late to Bitcoin? Michael Saylor just bought $2 billion worth of it. You're late? Where? How? Bitcoin's an ego test. As soon as you can sacrifice your ego and say, I'm not bigger than this thing, I can't control this thing, I am one with this thing. This thing is more important than me, it's bigger than me. It's when you become a Bitcoiner. You join the network, you have every single equal right with everyone else on the network. There's no hierarchy, rules with no rulers. That's when you become a Bitcoiner. So I think thinking that you're late to Bitcoin is a failure of ego. Stop comparing yourself to other people. Listen, at the end of the day, you got to put your money somewhere. You got to put your time and energy, your effort, your labor somewhere, right? You get up, you go to work, you contribute to this world. You got to store that value somewhere. You're not going to store it in the best place to store it in human history because you're comparing yourself to your friend? What type of man are you? Come on. So, I don't know. Like, I just don't get that. Don't compare yourself to other people. Decisions are made at the margin. You wake up every day, you contribute value to the people around you. You got to put that value somewhere. Bitcoin's the best place to put that value, period. So there's no top. There is no being late or early. Again, Bitcoin's not a hedge, it's the solution. Every single day that you wake up and you do things for others, you create value for society and you have to store that value. You put it in Bitcoin, obviously. It's been the correct answer for the last 15 years. It'll be the correct answer for the next 1,500 years.
What kind of man are you? Where are you going to store your value? Are you going to keep it in a bank account? Are you buying the dip in bonds right now? What's your plan? I know what mine is. Speaking of mining, thank you for all of the people that I got to meet down at the Mining Disrupt conference. It was amazing meeting fans and people in real life. I love creating content for you all and want to keep the alpha coming. And speaking of mining, if you want to get into Bitcoin mining, well, you want to work with a company that's 100% aligned with Bitcoiner values, like SAS Mining, which allows you to buy a state-of-the-art mining rig with no middlemen, no fees, no markups in between. They make money when you make money. You have a simple contract that's based upon clear rules and clear descriptions. Your mining rig is mining Bitcoin from carbon-free, completely renewable energy sources. And after your power bill that you pay with them at a flat, constant, consistent rate, well, you make the profit in sats. Get started by using the QR code right here if you want to understand about Bitcoin mining and earning Bitcoin while you sleep. You might want to start now because 95% of all Bitcoin has already been mined as of today. This is Dante Cook with Bitcoin Simply. Happy stacking.